Um, it is a balance arm, and it's designed to take the weight of your glass that you're picking up, so that your lifting effort is minimal. You still have to move your product around, obviously, but it takes the balance for you. In order to be able to move it, the most important thing is there's a brake on here. So you have to squeeze this brake handle to release the brake. Because right now, the brake is on the axes. You can only move it against the load. But if you want to pick up a piece of glass and move it, you bring the brake off. So now I can move this quite freely around with the brake off. Okay. And to make any adjustments on the head at all, you have to have the brake off as well. Okay, so if you try and do something and it doesn't happen, you probably haven't pulled the brake. That's the most common mistake. But like a lot of things, once you've used it for a day or so, it'll become second nature. Um, the unit consists of a vacuum system with the cups mounted in the front, and the cups are adjustable on an angle. There's a pin you pull out. You just saw me do that. You pull a pin out of here, and you can adjust the angle of the cups. So you can bring them in really close together, or you can take them far apart. Okay? So depending on the size of the glass you're going to be picking up, you can set that wherever you want. The other adjustment for the cups is we can adjust the cups in and out. And the way you do that is on this switch here. So I can move the cups in and I can move them out. Okay? So we have an in and out adjustment for the cups there. We can adjust the angle of the head, the tilt on the head. So if your carts are at a different angle to what your machine is, you can adjust the tilt angle on this button here. So I can push this button, that's all the way. This button adjusts the tilt that way. If I push the top button, I'll come back to vertical. Okay, so I can set it whatever. In order for the cups to seal on the glass, you have to be at the right angle. Okay. When you're picking up, or before you pick up the glass, this right now. So right now the balance cylinders up on top are taking the weight of the structure. So I can move this up and down with very little force. Doesn't require a lot of force. On the cups, the other thing I can do is I can select between 2 and 4 cups. So if I put this on 2, only the bottom 2 cups will suction onto the product. So if you have a narrow but very wide piece of glass, you can suction just with those 2 cups. Otherwise, you'll have it in the 4 cup position for all 4 cups to come on when you bring the vacuum on. Okay. You have another feature on this unit, and that is rotate. We can rotate 90 degrees. So if you pick up a piece of glass this way and you want to put it on a cart this way, you've got a 90-degree rotation. And that is this button here. Huh? Okay. That's rotate. This is tilt. This here is an up and down button for the handle. So if you're lifting up quite high, and you're getting to a point where it's awkward, you can bring this, you can bring the whole head down. So I can adjust this to what feels like a convenient height for you. Okay, that's this button here. So yeah, the only thing now is going to be the vacuum side, the suction onto a product. So maybe we can get a piece of glass. I can show you that. Okay, so the vacuum on and off is this green button and red button. So I want to bring the vacuum on. I'll press the green button. You have to wait for this little button to show green.
That's your indicator.
That's the indicator that it's safe to lift. Okay, don't try and lift it until you get that green button. But once you've got that green button, now it's at the right vacuum. To balance that weight of glass, I changed this dial here. See, I've got an adjustment on that dial there, so I can increase the lifting force or decrease it. Okay, so you get it at a balance point like that. But again, now once I get free, I can move it up and down by hand very simply. Okay, but that balance there is what you set for the different weights of your glass. Okay, so I'll just put it back where I found it. Okay, and then to release is the red button to release it. And what you do is you can hear it. There's a positive air pressure to actually blow the cup away from the glass. And that's all that you need. There's a couple of things I got to point out. One is that this head can rotate 360 degrees. So I can go all the way around. But there is a limit to how many times you can do that. And that is 3 times. If you find that you're turning around, you're moving the product around, eventually it'll stop. There, it stopped. I can't push it anymore. That is the limit of the one direction. You've got 3 turns all the way back. Okay, so I'll go 1, 1.5. You see that pin there? It's coming through the side. That basically is the stop for the number of times that you can turn it. That will move up and down as you're rotating the whole head. But when you hit a resistance, because this is one end or the other, it's either at the top or the bottom, and that's because there's air hoses and things coming into the rotary joint. This rotary joint, there's air hoses in there, and they can only stand 3 rotations. You go beyond that, you start twisting the air. So that's the limit. Okay, so I only mention that if you eventually you'll feel you can't turn it anymore. That's why. Just unwind it. Okay. Right now I've got this. I've got this so that the arm comes out and comes this way, and the intention is that you can lift off the table and you can come around and work in this area here. What you want to avoid doing is bringing this arm around the other side of the main arm. All right, try and keep it on this side of the arm all the time.